Welcome to the session on strategic foresight and innovation management. We're very happy that you are interested in our course and our module that we're offering on behalf of ENRICH in LAC. My name is Schmitz. I work as a senior expert on strategic foresight at the project management agency of the German Aerospace Center. Together with ENRICH in LAC and our partner EKIP, we offer tailored courses on how to spot and work with trends of the future. We tell you how to write scenarios and develop a roadmap for your company or organization, especially for our ENRICH and ENRICH in LAC members. Today, I would like to give you a brief teaser of what you can expect to learn in these different modules. But before that, let's just travel back 16 years, let's say, to the year 2007. The very first smartphones entered the market. So maybe some of you remembered the first smartphone, be BlackBerry, for example. So what has been different in 2007? Did you live in another apartment? Did you live in another house? Did you have the same job, or did you have the same position in your company, in your organization? I think that chances are quite high that some or all of these aspects of your personal life have changed. Now I invite you to think 16 years ahead, to say to the year 2038. Do you think that you will live in the same apartment, the same house? Will you have the same job or same position? I think, and for all of us, it's quite difficult to answer these questions. We are confronted by different biases that we have. Confirmation bias, for example. We are constantly looking for information that actually confirm our worldview that we already have. We tend to be optimistic when we think about the future of ourselves, and we tend to be pessimistic when we think about the future of states or, let's say, international organizations. Plus, in our daily lives, we face a terror of urgency. I'm pretty sure you know that from your daily lives, daily work lives, and working in different silos. On top of that, we are living in a world, as we futurists call it, in a world of VUCA, which is characterized by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. However, the good news is that there are methods to confront this VUCA world that we live in and analyze potential futures without, or nearly without, these biases. This method is called strategic foresight. So what is it? What is strategic foresight? Foresight is in sum a discipline of exploring, anticipating, and shaping the future to help building and using collective intelligence in a structured and systematic way to anticipate developments of the future. Concretely, strategic foresight anticipates trends. We anticipate risks, emerging issues, and their potential implications and opportunities in order to draw useful insights for strategic planning, policy making, and preparedness. So, strategic foresight is not about predicting the future, don't get me wrong, because nobody eventually can, but it explores different possible futures alongside the opportunities and challenges that they might represent. Ultimately, it will help us to act in the present to shape the future that we eventually want. Why would you say strategic foresight useful? What are the benefits? 123 of the Fortune 500 companies that represent the firms with the world's highest revenue have already created a department on strategic foresight. The Vice President of the European Commission is tasked with strategic foresight, and many governments in Latin America have already created an office on strategic foresight. Foresight helps us to identify needs in the market for companies, for organizations. It identifies trends that competitors might not yet have spotted, and it helps us to helps innovative in organizations and companies to account for potential future developments and the possible convergence of long-term trends. It helps to develop a long-term, consistent strategy and vision beyond the mere day-to-day business. The strategic foresight approach and mindset will support organizations and companies in becoming more agile and more resilient in a highly complex and uncertain landscape. In sum, all decision makers who look to think and act more strategically about the position and seek to improve it will find the methods, skills, and mindset useful that we are offering in the framework of the ENRICH in LAC training modules. In order to work with methods of strategic foresight, we need to have a different mindset that we normally have. All methods in strategic foresight build on the notion of enriching people's understanding of future possibilities and therefore help seeing new solutions and building better strategies. But how do we change our mindset? I mean, in the end, it's not that easy. How can we move away from these biases that I just mentioned and influence the VUCA world that we live in? First of all, we need to acknowledge that each of us has a different vision of what the future holds. Second, we need to use the power of prototyping. Third, support a strategic conversation to make decisions for a better future. And fourth, acknowledge that the futures are plural. While the past can be described as a linear process, the future is not yet written in stone. Literally anything you do today has an impact on the near, middle, or long-term future. An example is the scenario practice. So here we use the art of conceptualizing alternative worldviews of how the future actually might unfold. These are stories of how the future could be different from what we know now today, different from our business as usual way of looking at the future and outlining potentials of the future. The true value of scenario planning is to look beyond our models and projections and listen to alternative framings of the future. These alternative frames help to see new signals of change and give a different interpretation to current affairs. In brief, in the world of strategic foresight, we build on strengthening our foresight literacy, we call it. Another example to show the necessity to strengthen our futures literacy is the example of benchmarking. One of the most used approaches to formulate your own strategy, I'm sure you've heard of it, benchmarking. So the identification of best practices or the most successful player on the field, and you simply try to copy the approach, or at least work in similar lines. If you ask me, this has a number of flaws. You assume that the future will move in the same direction as the past, or you think that the future will be as in the past. An analysis of the current market situation or situation does not consider any potential future development. So this is exactly what we try to avoid in strategic foresight. If you or your company rely on this method, I'm afraid that your chances that your strategy, your future strategy, might become outdated, obsolete in the next year, next 2 years, or in the medium term, as the future, I'm sure, will not be like the past. And just imagine a new technology, a new technological change occurs that you or your company, your organization did not anticipate. These chances are quite high because in the end, we all overlook things. This is the reason why we think that strategic foresight is a very good method to draw your strategic plans of the future. In the framework of ENRICH in LAC, we offer courses to learn these methods. We offer courses to learn these methods, these skills, the different mindsets that we're advocating so that you can apply them in your company, in your organization. In total, we offer 5 different training modules. The first one is an introduction to strategic foresight. Here we learn the most widely used methods of strategic foresight. We use module 2 to have a more deep dive into the scenarios. We look at different ways to draft and enrich scenarios and approaches to make them emotionally engaging. The third module looks at a deep dive on backcasting and road mapping, 2 methods that you might have heard of. In this model, we use foresight for strategic planning and get to know these 2 methods in more detail. The fourth course focuses or takes an innovation lab approach. We call it the Futures Literacy Laboratories. In the end, they were designed by UNESCO and are now widely used by different companies. And on top of that, we also have a Train the Facilitator course that we are offering. So if you, your company, your organization is interested to host foresight courses yourself, we are happy to facilitate that workshop in order to get to know the tips and tricks of this one as well. All of these courses that are presented to you last 2 to 3 days each and are designed in a very interactive way. We offer these courses in English, German, and in Spanish. And after the completion of the module, of the different modules, you will know where to search for, especially where to find and recognize trends, elaborate scenarios of potential futures, and redirect your strategy towards previously hidden business opportunities and niches. In case you're interested, feel free to reach out to ENRICH in LAC to learn more about our courses on strategic foresight and innovation management, or the wealth of different other courses that we are offering. Thank you very much for watching.
Hello again, and thank you very much for participating in this class and this topic. It's a pleasure for us to have you with us in our program. So I would like to thank you again and just say that the ENRICH in LAC Center, it's an association that's located in Latin America. And obviously we put together, as I mentioned before, we put together Europe and Latin America. As a center, we coordinate this, we coordinate the services, and we are at your disposal to support you in any time, in any sense, to make possible our main objective, which is innovation, internationalization, and make sure that we come to the reality and projects that will benefit not only our business and our companies, but also the whole humanity. Thank you very much for being here with us. Bye-bye.